Abilene Christian University has always been an institution with missions at its heart. ACU's mission to educate students for Christian service and leadership throughout the world places a focus on kingdom life in global context. Missions training dates back to the early days of ACU. In 1918, the Department of Religious History and Missions was created. Charles P. Poole became the first full missions professor of comparative religion and missions in 1920. In 1921, Clara Bishop, missionary from Japan, began serving as an instructor of missions. Alongside this curricular training was the important co-curricular missions study class, begun in 1918, continuing into the early 1970s. Hundreds of students gathered to hear reports from missionaries and were challenged to make missions a part of their lives. These experiences captured the imagination and hearts of many students. The fruit of this class, along with the rise in missions awareness, was a steady stream of graduates being sent out. Some of the first were Lily Seipert to Japan in 1924, the George Desha family to India in 1926. Training significantly expanded with the coming of the Summer Seminar in Missions to ACU in 1968. This effort, led by Dr. George Gerganis and Wendell Broom, brought veteran missionaries and others beyond the ACU community to train alongside ACU students, expanding missions training to a broader constituency. In 1977, Gaston Tarbett began directing MARC, a 2-year missionary apprentice program. Through its 17-year history, MARC placed 136 students in 52 different missions contexts. ACU formalized missions training as an academic discipline under the leadership of Dr. Ed Matthews, who for 25 distinguished years led missions training at ACU. During those years, many returned missionaries began serving alongside faculty as missionaries in residence, an important co-curricular role in missions training. In 1986, Dr. Galen Van Reenen joined the missions faculty, bringing world-class scholarship to the ACU missions community. In 1993, Dr. Phil Slate became chair of the missions program, which he led for 6 years. In the fall of 2000, at the direction of Dr. Jack Reese, the College of Biblical Studies began a new initiative. Rather than being a separate discipline, missions was integrated into the very DNA of the entire college, and important co-curricular training became the work of the Institute for Missions and Evangelism. Under the leadership of Dr. Sonny Gile, the Institute helped reshape missional formation at ACU. In 2005, the Institute became the Halbert Institute for Missions, named for Joanne Walling Halbert. The Halbert family has a significant history with ACU. Joanne met her husband David at ACC, and they both graduated in 1955. All of their children and 8 of their grandchildren attended ACU. At the age of 65, this passion for missions took her to Australia on her own mission, where she finished a 5-year commitment before acquiring cancer in 2003. The Halbert family partnered with the College of Biblical Studies with an endowment gift of $3 million that continues to expand and sustain missions training at ACU. The creation of the Halbert Institute for Missions realized the dream of the Halbert family to find an appropriate way to honor their mother, who so exemplified the missional passion the Halbert Institute seeks to instill in every student.
ACU has a great legacy in missions. We stand on the shoulders of many men and women who have gone before us. I've been privileged these last 10 years to direct the Halbert Institute for Missions. The Halbert Institute staff includes myself, Dr. Gary Green, who's the missions coordinator for Latin America, Larry Henderson, who's the missions coordinator for Asia, Dr. Kent Smith, who's the missions coordinator for North America, and Deborah Nickham, who is our administrative coordinator. During the last 10 years, 592 men and women have been prepared for global ministry. Of those, 431 have been prepared for short-term missions in the Worldwide Witness program. For many students, their first introduction to the Halbert Institute and to missions is through the Worldwide Witness program.
Wyman Walker and I were blessed to work together and set up what's called Worldwide Witness, and this is an opportunity for a student to come and within one program find over 50 different locations where they can go and work. Some mission programs will train students for one particular job and send them around the world to plug that job into multiple locations, and it looks the same wherever they go. One of the things that makes Worldwide Witness unique is that we want our students to go and to join the local work. And so what a student will actually do on an internship varies greatly. We have some students that'll be working with campus ministries. Some work with youth internships. Some will work with orphanages, medical missions. Some are working with third world country church plantings. Some will be in major cities such as the Bronx. Others will be actually living in huts during the summer. So even though all students for Worldwide Witness will not become long-term missionaries, those who are becoming long-term missionaries are very often coming out of the Worldwide Witness or other similar programs for short-term internships.
We're happy to have people from any discipline in Worldwide Witness. We're not limited to Bible majors, and in fact, I think we have more students from other majors, non-Bible majors, than we do from the Bible department. We think that all of our Abilene Christian students need to have cross-cultural experience before they graduate from ACU. And for those that have a special place in their heart for God's work around the world, we think this is really important. The team that just recently moved to Piau, almost a year ago now, is a special team because the first I saw of them was when they came to Thailand as summer interns. And to see them progress through what was pre-Worldwide Witness, but summer internships, and then to see them commit themselves to long-term, full-time missions team work has been a great satisfaction to see it going full circle.
We're always excited to have the Worldwide Witness interns come back and tell us what they've been doing and how they've seen God at work. Listen to a few of their stories.
In the summer of 2009, I had the opportunity to go to Auckland, New Zealand with Worldwide Witness. I think I was really changed by the fact that I got to work with people that I didn't know and had a chance to love on them in a setting far away from home that really taught me quite a bit about myself and other people in the world, and how all of our needs are so similar and how the love of the Lord can reach anyone in any need.
This summer I went to Owerri, Nigeria. I worked at the Susanna Holmes Orphanage with Dr. Chia Quinye. There were 60 school children and also orphans there. With Worldwide Witness providing me the internship, I definitely grew a lot closer to God. I found myself at a point where I was very stagnant. I knew what I believed, but I felt as though I was just going through the motions, and being able to go to this trip, it just got me a lot closer to God, and it just allowed me to realize what God is doing all around the world. Each of us girls were given a child to take care of, and I was given Isaac. Isaac threw some very crazy tantrums, and it was kind of hard to deal with at first, but with a lot of love and nurturing, he became a very happy child, and I really bonded with him. And there isn't a day that goes by that I don't think about him, and I really do miss him.
This summer, Worldwide Witness sent me to Papua New Guinea, which is a small island in the South Pacific. It was incredible for me to get to experience a completely different way of life that was so radically different from what I experience every day living in Abilene, Texas. Living in a little bush house for 2 weeks definitely pushed me out of my comfort zone, but was such a fulfilling experience. It allowed me to really understand more than I ever had that God loves people in all cultures. He speaks every language in the world, and He is so incredibly interested with every person in the world.
Teams come to us from the ACU student body and from outside ACU as well. I'd like to give you a sense of Halbert's comprehensive co-curricular training. While we equip men and women for effective cross-cultural ministry, the heart of Halbert training is spiritual formation. We believe that the character of the missionary is of first importance. Those that are training for long-term missions are involved in mentoring and coaching on a weekly basis. Formal training revolves around 5 modules that are long weekend events. We also have a 6th module that involves continued coaching and on-site visits once the teams are on the field. 2 teams have recently finished their training, one going to Chile and the other to Zambia. Listen to the Halbert staff and team members describe the modules as they experience them.
The modules compress in usually a long weekend, an opportunity for people to really face a lot of the key issues that are related to effectiveness in mission work. And that has to do with both their relationship with God and their relationship with each other as a teammate. It also has a lot to do with their ability to connect the two, to connect their own spiritual gifts and graces with the opportunities that God will place before them.
And so I think one of the strengths that Halbert brings to the table is the fact that we model what a team looks like within ourselves. And so we're able to walk beside our students as a team, modeling what team looks like going through different phases.
The pre-MAC module was very important to us as a team and individually. It was our first module, and it was a module that really began to sharpen our skills and preparedness to share the gospel of Jesus with people. We were able to really role play and see what it might be like to interact and share the gospel cross-culturally.
The kingdom relationship module that we did experience definitely was one that I can think back to and think, wow, I did learn a lot about my teammates, about my brother and sister-in-law, even my wife. Some ways that we were able to grow together to see how each other functions in different situations. It was definitely a rewarding experience.
Okay, the module that was most helpful for me was the kingdom relationship module, because I really never believed in personality profiles, because when I look at them and evaluate myself, I don't really get much out of them, but being able to evaluate the personality profiles with the team really made a big difference. They were able to tell me things that I didn't know about myself, that the personality profile had actually told me, but they were able to help me realize that, and we were able to do that for each other, so I thought that was pretty important.
I feel that the CPAC was useful to me because it really shed some light on team dynamics, and we'd always heard how important working as a team together is and making decisions together, but I feel that the CPAC really shed light on how our team was doing and areas that we needed to improve on and give God room to work.
The Halbert Institute collaborates with the Graduate School of Theology in our Missionary Residency for North America program, called MYRNA for short. MYRNA is directed by Kent Smith and combines Halbert training, academic studies, and intensive hands-on experiences.
With the current cohort, there are about 45 people who have been through MYRNA in its first 6 years. And that group now is spanning the globe, from Boston to Hawaii, from Chicago to New Orleans, with people now about to leave for Russia and for Japan.
One of the best things about Halbert training is that we prepare women and men spiritually and also with the capacity to be lifelong missional learners in global contexts.
Kind of the platform for mission that I'm a part of is New York City, where we encounter people from around the globe, and missiological training is really helpful, but it's at least as helpful, if not more so, to be a lifelong learner. Living in the Bronx, I can walk out the front door of my building and encounter any array of nationalities and cultures and languages, and continuing to learn, continuing to realize that we don't have the answers. Theological training, missiological training, needs to be as much about equipping missional workers to go out and be learners, to go out and to adapt. The very point of training is not that you leave with a package of answers that's ready to go and we plug and play, but going out with missiological training is being equipped to adapt to unknown circumstances and surprises that come all along the way.
Recently, the A&M Church of Christ and Halbert have begun a creative partnership. Several years ago, the A&M Church began an imaginative new initiative in missions to support teams as they were in training. The A&M Church has now supported 3 teams that have been a part of Halbert training. The first one that went to Lima, Peru, and the second to Piau, Thailand, and the third now to Concepcion, Chile. We are grateful for the opportunity to collaborate with such a great church.
I'm very proud of the relationship that I've had indirectly with the A&M Church through the years. Bob Davidson was a missionary in Thailand. His son Kelly and I were dear friends, grew up together and worked together for many years. And now to have continue the close relationship from a distance has been a real blessing. And to be able to work with A&M teams, A&M students that have come to ACU for ministry training, for teams that combine both ACU and Texas A&M students, that's brought me special satisfaction.
The last 10 years have been exciting. Because of God's faithfulness, we have hope and boldness for the future. Dr. Chris Flanders will take up the baton to direct the Halbert Institute as we move into the future to join God in His mission.
As far as the future of Halbert, the future is something I'm really excited about. Halbert has got an amazing set of resources in our coordinators, in the networks that we have throughout the globe, with the missionaries that we've connected with and even trained. And so one of the things that we're very excited about is working hard to resource those developing networks of churches in parts of the world that we've never been in before. I think one of the things that we reach back into history to claim is this distinct passion for the world, recognizing that God has called us not to just live in Abilene, Texas, but to really have a distinctly global perspective. And that's what we see when we go all the way back to the early beginnings of ACU. Professors and students who are keenly aware that God's call is for the world. I think our strengths are the people that we have. Extraordinary coordinators, extraordinary experience, extraordinary capacities to connect with students and to develop those students. And so we think it's really an important time, a Kairos time, that God has put before us to help stimulate and stir up and further the missional conversation on the ACU campus.